The world is old and the powers are weary. The god at the door of night has fallen, and the great enemy of the world has come back from the timeless void. The shadow has awakened the great evils to regain dominion over Ardar. Darkness shall cover the land, if not of the deeds of a small fellowship of elf friends. Join the players of this Dungeons & Dragons campaign as they fulfill the events of the Dark or Daggeroth prophecy and strive with Morgoth on the plains of Valinor. Welcome to the Undying Lands in Part 3 of the Inglorion Bastards trilogy, Trials of Yavanna.
You appear in Ilmarin. Azelendor almost shoots Ingwe with the sunbeam. Oh, yeah, hey. All right, and you guys see Lorien, or sometimes called Irmo, standing above near Vanya and Ulmo and Tillian and Arian, all people that you have freed in your trials.
Nice. Also, does Goldberry stay with us? Spirit Goldberry? Because we can still get a little bit of heal out of that.
No, I think traveling through the portal breaks your concentration.
Oh, okay.
So you guys are here, and Lorien, I guess, would kind of come up to you. And I haven't really showed you much what these guys look like. Lorien is also sort of the master of visions and dreams. And he would say, thank you for waking me. I'm still not at my full strength. None of us are. There's still much to do. But the other tree, he looks at Tessero and he says, we must regrow Telperion. And as he's looking at Tessero, he says, Laurelin is still growing. You must keep her safe.
Tree looks like a lady.
So, I mean, you guys are kind of just standing there. You want to ask them anything? What do you want to do?
What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen to Tessera? Yeah.
Lorien says. Lorien would say, "This is the accord that he struck with Goldberry. He is to become the golden tree in Azelohar, and Tessera will be the sort of a guardian spirit at Azelohar."
Okay.
Oh, it's not such a bad way to go.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, it could be worse.
I was going to say that's kind of dark.
You could have been freaking eaten by a glowworm. That would have been freaking bad.
I mean, you can have...
Exactly.
I love that he says that, and you guys are just like, "Oh, okay." You can further.
I personally think it's dark. Like, yeah, like you struck a deal and now you die, dude. Like,
I'm a tree.
You die and you see a tree. Lives eternal as like the two of the most important living things on the planet.
Right.
I think that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
You can have further discussion if you'd like. I mean, if Tessera, this is up to you. This is your, you can ask him if there's a way out of it or whatever.
It's your destiny, dude.
I can leave the tree like as a spirit, sort of, right?
You can't go far, but yes.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Looks like a nice spot.
The character can emerge from the tree and travel the lands around it, but the tree remains his home and roots him to the world. As long as the tree remains healthy and unharmed, the character stays forever youthful. If the tree is harmed, he suffers. If the tree is ever destroyed, the character descends into madness. Oh, shit. Right? Well, I guess this is one of the safer places to have the tree, right?
Yeah, but the other thing is, like, you've only done 3 of the trials. There's 5 more trials and a battle against Morgoth, and you're one of the 2 trees. So, there's that to consider as well. Tessero is probably...
Is there any way, just be like, so we need him to finish the trials. Is there a way to temporarily slow down the process or what, like that?
He says there is one possibility, and that would be, I'll share a lore card with you, something called Mirovore, and maybe, I think, as Zelendor. You want to read this to them, MJ? You would have heard of this.
So what's that word again?
Mirovore.
Mirovore was the nectar of the Vala made from the Yavanna flowers resting in the waters of the wells of Varda. The name Men of War refers to a reviving cordial of the elves in Rivendell. A liqueur with the power to grant renewed vigor and strength. Elrond gave a flask of the cordial of
Imladris.
Imladris, thank you, to Gandalf with the company of the ring departed on their southward journey. Gandalf used this drink to revitalize themselves.
On Carapace, when they were heading through the mountains.
Yeah, all right, yeah, okay. Maneuver was created in the same way as was Meneltarma, however, at a fraction of its potency.
So I put the second paragraph in there so you would have some frame of reference.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
That's
not what it was like used on Frodo when he got to Rivendell, was it?
I suppose that could be what sort of the magic of Elrond, right, or the whatever they call it, the healing arts.
Right.
It definitely could be. So this cordial of the elves was created in a similar fashion as Miravore, which is the cordial of the Valar. But you could only get Miravore from the flowers of Yavanna growing in the waters of Varda, in the wells of Varda. And Zelindor, the character who's an elf, whose job it was he's named after the hill on which the two trees grew on. The wells of Varda were the pools of water surrounding the two trees, that the water was actually created from the dew falling off of the two trees. And
that must have taken a freaking long while to do.
Yeah, so let me share with you the wells of Varda. Someone want to share this? Maybe John could read this, since one of his kin drank the wells.
The wells of Varda were the great pools beneath the two trees in Balnor created by Varda to store the dew that fell from Norland and Telperion.
Yeah.
Wells were drained by Ungoliant in the darkening of Valor. While drinking, she moved to emphasize that even Melkor feel fearful.
So you guys get what he's saying. So Lorien told you there is this cordial that he didn't really say what it could do, but he says this is, you basically asked, like, what did you ask, Faradir? You asked,
is there any way to slow down the until we're done with the trials?
Yeah, so he mentions this cordial, but he also says that this cordial hasn't existed since the darkening of Valinor, since the wells of Varda were drained by Ungoliant, and the two trees disappeared, and the flowers of Yavanna have not grown in the wells, obviously. So, if you're interested in this, him sort of recreating this cordial, or the other gods creating this cordial, you will have to recover the two trees, and you'll have to somehow restore the wells of Varda, which is one of the trials. So
look at that.
Look at that. So let's look at.
And I would drink it to slow it down or something.
He didn't specify what would happen to you. Would you like to ask?
Sure.
Well, I'll tell you what. We have something here that might help with this. Well, it doesn't actually specify. So he says that the cordial has restorative properties, and he's not exactly sure what will happen, but it is possible that it could either slow the progression or that it might be able to separate you from the cloak. And you can guess which trial, basically recovering the wells of Varda.
Probably the trial of Varda with the water droplets.
Yeah.
We got the cimarals, and we're getting the trees.
Yeah.
We're watering the trees.
And then we light them on fire.
And we chain them to the ground.
Throw a party with the hearts.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's a point plan.
That's canon.
All right. So he would. So you would tell him that your plan is to go to Meneltarma and do the trial of Yavanna to recover a sapling of Telperion. And if somebody wants to look in your quest journal, which is right here, we know that there's something else in Meneltarma which you're excited about. Remember the elf that died, that got kind of smashed by the ship when it fell out of the sky? Arendiel?
Yep.
His father, I believe, Tuor, and his mother, Idril, you guys met them at the Tower of Pearl. Tuor was a human, and Idril was an elf, so their whole line are called the Half-Elven. Erendiel, Elrond, Elros, all of them, all the way on down. Arwen, all of them are sort of half-elven. Even, I don't know, even kind of the Dunedain, if you know.
Yeah, kind of.
Why are they half-elven?
Well, they're the offspring of Elros, the half-elven that chose to live a human life.
Oh, no. What about Elrond? Other ones like
Elrond is also half-elf, but he chose to live the life of the firstborn. Yeah,
so
one of his parents was human.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
And those are the people that we're talking about now, Tuor and Idril. So some of these guys met them at the Tower of Pearl in the last campaign, and actually, Tuor was killed by the Shadow and Turinbar, but Tuor's axe was an heirloom of Númenor and was kept supposedly in Meneltarma, which is the place you're going now. If somebody wants to sort of brush up on that, Meneltarma's right here. Someone wants to read that.
Meneltarma, its name means Pillar of Heaven in Quenya, highest peak of Númenor, now the only part of the massive island that is above water. No man has ever known to reach it. So it is said that from Meneltarma, you can see the unreachable blessed realm.
Which is the realm you're in right now.
Birds and other animals did not approach the place. Only eagles and Monway were seen circling over the summit and regarded as sacred guardians of the mountain. All the way.
And speaking of which, I was wondering this week. You guys haven't ever asked me about Manwë. Manwë is the king of the gods. He's nowhere to be seen on this map, and nobody's asked me about him.
Oh, jeez.
You're in his palace.
So where's the man?
I just assumed he was there. I didn't even look at the names.
So that's a good question. All right, so let me show you a map too, so we can kind of orient you to. So you guys are on. Do you see where it says Valmar on the continent on the left? You guys are on that mountain right next to it called Taniquetel. You're in a palace called Ilmarin, right, which is where the Palace of Manwë is, where you are. You've spent time on Tol Eressëa. You've spent time at the Tower of Pearl to the east, in the shadowy seas. And that big amoeba running, Númenor, is where the Númenóreans came from, and then the good Númenóreans came to Middle Earth, and those were the Dunedain, like people like Strider and all the kings of Gondor. And the bad ones went to Umbar, and you guys fought some of the black Númenóreans, the kings. And they were the bad guys in the south, and you fought them in the first campaign. You fought them actually at the beginning of this campaign when the bad Númenóreans came out of the ground in the Caves of the Forgotten. But Númenor doesn't exist anymore. Only the highest peak in the very center of the island, which was called Meneltarma, and it was a hallowed place that that animals didn't go to, the birds didn't go to. Only the eagles of Manwë. And if you wonder why eagles always seem to save the day in all of Tolkien's books and movies, the eagles were not just animals; they were something else entirely, and they served Manwë, the king of the gods.
So why? All right. So why did he just? In many ways, why didn't he just send his eagle friends to help us along or help the ring? I mean, he only got involved at certain moments.
The eagles,
literally, it's probably just Deus Ex Machina. But did he give a reason why?
Well, the eagles have helped in The eagles helped in the War of Wrath. The eagles saved people from Thangordrim. The eagles took people to and from the Hidden Kingdom in the Silmarillion. The eagles have assisted with Gandalf. Have assisted in other. I think they fought in the Battle of the Five Armies. So
the last thing that Bilbo hears before he passes out.
Okay. So they've been everywhere, and they have helped. And in fact, in this campaign, they helped you guys battle the Balrog in the first, or the Shadow, who looked like a Balrog, in the end of the first campaign. Yeah, and I don't think they showed up in the second campaign, but they've been around. All right, so is everybody clear what's happening? What's about to happen?
Can you do one more refresh?
You guys are heading to the island of Númenor, which is all underwater except for the highest peak called Meneltarma. You were told by Idril and Tuor. Actually, you were told by Idril that Tuor kept his heirloom axe called Dramborleg in Meneltarma. But that's not the trial you're doing. You found that out in the second campaign. The trial you're doing is the Trial of Yavanna, and that is the trial that basically says to find a sapling of the white tree, one of the two trees. And that tree originally was called Telperion. And I have some lore cards from the second campaign here that I'll share with you. So the White Tree of Gondor, do you remember in Return of the King when they made a big deal about the White Tree flowering?
Yeah, because it was basically dead for what we've seen.
Right. Well, that tree was the offspring of the offspring of the offspring of the offspring of Telperion. And so the tree there used to be a white tree on Númenor named Nimloth, and you are the gods have sort of directed you there. Supposedly Nimloth was destroyed. Sauron told the Númenóreans to cut it down before the island was flooded. But they're telling you now that there was a sapling of Nimloth, one of the white trees, a sapling of the sapling of Telperion that's still on Meneltarma, the island of Númenor. Is this too lore-y? Are you guys following me?
No, this makes sense.
No, not you're talking about.
This makes sense.
Okay. So you guys have to decide, are you going to do a long rest or a short rest?
Ooh, I'm cool with the short rest, but I think for Farad's sake.
Oh, I can use my hit die.
Yeah, let's do short rest.
Short rest is fine.
Okay, so you guys, since you didn't take a long rest, we'll do. You guys have.
We took a short rest, right?
Right, correct. I'm gonna take you to Meneltarma.
Plus 4, it's 11.
Hey, an eagle!
Oh shit.
You get to ride the eagle?
Those are humongous eagles.
And I need you to do a Blighted Lands check, which is a wisdom save. And for Tessero, do a Blighted Lands check, but then it's a dexterity decrease and a guardian form hit point increase. All right, and you guys, before you left, Lorien, or maybe Ingwe, would tell you a little bit about Queen Berúthiel. Remember, Idriel had told you that to seek Queen Berúthiel for Dramborleg. So I wanted to share this with you. If someone wants to, maybe somebody from the other campaign who was there for it, can read this. So the first line is a quote from probably one of the books, maybe Fellowship. So Aragorn says this when Gandalf is trying to find his way in the dark in Moria, I believe.
Gandalf is sure finding a way home in the blind night and the cats of Queen Berúthiel.
It's the only.
I know about her cats now, but I don't know about her.
Well, there's a line beneath it.
With the cats, you were spies.
That's true.
Someone want to read that, or are you all reading it silently?
I can read it.
I accidentally closed mine.
I can read it, right?
Yeah.
Black Númenórean queen from Umbar, who was wed to the king of Gondor in the late 800s of the Third Age for political reasons. She was known about light and was later put on her house. In fact, Umbar, by a thing, he had 9 black cats and 1 white cat that followed her everywhere, which she used as spies.
So the only account of Queen Berúthiel, other than the one line in The Lord of the Rings, came in Unfinished Tales, which was a book published by Christopher Tolkien of some of his father's fragments of stories. And it's kind of not clear what happened to her after she was put on the boat. Some people think she made it back home to Umbar. Not according to my mythos, though. She went somewhere else entirely. All right, so you guys are on Meneltarma. And you know a little bit about someone who you're going to encounter here. She's Queen Berúthiel is a little bit like the Entwives in terms of Tolkien lore, just one reference to her, and but it's a very Tolkien was so good at just mentioning one thing, something that he obviously had thought of a lot, and it was embedded in the history of his world, but just left people wanting more.
Oh, by the way, the end said wives. Okay, moving on.
Yep, yeah, exactly. And they lost them? What the hell? So you're on Númenor. So this would be a big moment for Farad'r. This is his homeland.
Oh, guide us, homeland.
Well, he's never been here, really. I mean, this is the homeland, I should say, of his ancestors.
Oh, okay.
So those eagle statues are real eagles?
They're real eagles that they have. They're nesting on Meneltarma.
Can we go up to one and then bow?
Yeah, absolutely. So they would. I think that this eagle would probably recognize you as a Númenórean, a descendant of a Númenórean, and would bow his head at you. They look like they're almost. There are sort of 5 points of Númenor, and these eagles look to be like they're like they're on guard, that they're guarding the way like almost blocking the way to the Blessed Realm.
I see like a cliff-looking thing. Is that a cave?
Yeah, there's a cave there.
Okay, cool. Then we should go there. Everybody, follow me.
All right.
Okay.
So you guys going in?
I guess so. Do we see anything that looks like the tree we're looking for?
Not out here now.
Okay.
No, it's got to be in the cave.
I wasn't expecting a tree to grow in a cave.
Hey, look, a white tree. Sweet, we're done. That was awesome. Though this marks the end of the episode, the road goes ever on. Until next time, join us at longwinded.one and consider giving us a review on Apple Music, Spotify, or really whichever platform you choose.